Okay, so a while ago I posted on r/Reddit and I asked the question if anybody else talks out loud or to themselves, and I ended up getting a ton of responses, and one of them was actually recommending the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, if I'm not mistaken. And the commenter said that the book talks about how there's no difference between a homeless guy who talks out loud to himself and a normal person. The only thing between them is how they processed their grief, regret, depression, etc. And this piqued my interest, so I ended up getting the book and reading all about it because honestly, I've been feeling real stuck in my head with all my thoughts and anxiety and everything like that. And I wanted to see if it had anything to offer. The idea is that you are not your thoughts, but the entity that can consciously react to them. It's like your thoughts are the river, yet you are the entire forest itself. When you get angry at something, your first instinction is to react on that anger. But in reality, your first question should be, why am I angry right now? Am I hungry? Am I in a hurry? Or anything like that. And I think this idea that you are not your thoughts, but the conscious entity that reacts to them is in a lot of lines of philosophy, religion, and I think it's extremely empowering, and it can help you view your own habits and then break through them because you are essentially analyzing yourself and being able to surpass all of it. It allows you to truly live in the present moment because it's the only moment that actually exists. Time is an illusion. And I know what you're going to be saying. Oh, but what about my dentist appointment in a couple months? That's real, isn't it? And yes, the dentist appointment is real. The thing is, humans work with abstract and unreal things all the time. Time is an illusion, but there's two types of it. Okay, follow me. We're going to get a little woo-woo here, a little spiritual, okay? Two types of time. Clock time. And that would be the example of the dentist appointment. It's how we regulate and function. It's how we are able to function as a society. And the other time is psychological time. And this is when you are pulled out of the present moment due to emotions. It's fearing the future, aka anxiety, or having regret from the past, and not being able to be within the current moment because you are stuck with all these thoughts and thought loops and cycles going on in your head over and over and over and over and over. And to be honest with you, when I realized all that, was when I realized that I am never really present a lot. I'm practically never present. It explains a lot of why people are so anxious today and so polarized and extreme with their emotions, is because we're so unpresent all the time in our lives. We're never fully encapsulated by beauty of just regular stuff anymore. It's always compared to something we've seen on the internet, and you can never actually fully just be there. And it kills me. Because when I see a sunset, I am lost in the sunset. It happened just the other night. It happened last night because there's a red sun. I hope the camera picks that up. I think that'd be funny. But it makes me really sad that this is freaking me out. I keep feeling like it's moving. I'm gonna get off this. I told my mom I was gonna be safe. I just feel like we owe it to ourselves to not get so caught up in the internet, because now it is a real part of our society, but it isn't real life. So go enjoy nature sometime. You don't have to do what I'm doing, climbing a tree like this, being an idiot. You guys can't even tell how stupid this is. Oh, I'm like 50, 60 feet in the air. At least I was when I was at the top. There we go. Cool. All right. Now if I fell, it would just hurt. To be sure that people see the sheer magnitude of this thing. Like, I was all the way up there. It goes down into a bog. And what I realized is every time that I'm up late worrying about something, every time I'm scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, going on Snapchat stories and seeing people that I don't even care about anymore, is literally an escape from reality, and it takes me out of the present moment. It is cheap dopamine versus real dopamine. And I'm not saying that you don't actually get dopamine from these apps, because you do. The problem is that it is cheap, fake dopamine that doesn't actually help you. It's just little hits so that you can overload your brain and fuck yourself over. I don't need to swear in this. That's a bit aggressive. And look, you are not just your emotions. You are so much more than that. And you can do just about anything that you aspire to do. And you are your own limitations to it. But the problem is knowing that doesn't actually help you. You have to believe it too. Now, one of the times where I was extremely present very recently was I went out mushroom hunting with my friend. And that feeling of losing track of time and just being so engulfed in the thing that you are doing. I wasn't thinking of anything. I wasn't worried about when I had to work next. I wasn't worried about if I'm making enough money. I wasn't worried about anything. And I was just in the moment. And while we were out there doing all this morel hunting, we ended up going to a park and we were doing parkour. And eventually I had the thought to myself, I'm going to throw a flip. I'm going to throw a flip, you know? I'm going to do it. And I would do my running start, and just before I was about to do the jump, I would just freeze. Butterflies in my stomach, but each butterfly had the weight of a bowling ball, and I could just feel it pulling me down every single time. I was pulled out of the moment. I wasn't present anymore. Squirrel. I wasn't present, and I was stuck convincing myself I couldn't do the thing. Convincing myself that I couldn't do what I believed that I could do. And every single moment after I sat there convincing myself, and the anxiety just built and built and built like a little loop that just played on repeat over and over, getting worse and worse as it went and went and went. And I told myself that if I'm truly going to be present, then I need the ability to overcome this thing. I need to be able to overcome the fear of this. And that's what I did. I went home, and the hardest part was convincing myself to just do it. So many times I started running, I would stop, and I wouldn't be able to do it. So many times where I had totally convinced myself that I was going to do it, but then reconvinced myself out of it in the very last second, over and over and over and over and over, until finally I said, I'm going to do it. And then I went for it and realized that it was so much easier than I had ever thought. The entire time, it was so easy, but I told myself that I couldn't do it, so it felt so much harder. This massive obstacle in front of me was me, and it blew my mind. I was hyper present. As soon as I did it one time, I couldn't stop doing it. I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, realizing that I was able to overcome this fear by just believing in myself. Now, the book gets into a lot of spiritual woo-woo stuff, and I don't care what you believe in. Just be a good person, but also be present. I think feel the emotions you're going to feel, and feel them hard. Love hard. Get mad. Be sad. Feel all these things deeply in your gut. But most importantly, be present. Schnoz out. You know the deal. I love you.